Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up today on the young and the restless Billy and Sally. Look to the future. Victor demands a confession and Maria sobs over her wife and daughter going missing. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At Billy's new place, Sally cuddles up to her boyfriend and tells him she's never seen him. Speechless, Billy is just taking in the house she designed. It's really amazing the reality of it all, he admits. He was a little worried she might have gone for oversized and fluffy. He talks about the perfect touches and attention to detail. But what he loves most is the couch, because you run it. They kiss. Billy muses now, who's speechless. Sally was just thinking he asked her to make over his home. Now she wants to know how he'll make over his career. Billy pours some bubbly and tells Sally that he wants to build something. He's just not sure what. Sally thinks maybe she can help him figure it out. They discuss following your heart and starting a business you love. Billy muses that every business he's worked for was someone else's vision. Now he can start from scratch with something that represents him. He tells Sally his reasons for wanting to hang on to Chancellor were wrong. He didn't love it in the way that he would if it was his. He saw it as a means to prove himself. You help me see that if you do things out of revenge, it's doomed to fail. Sally understands wanting to prove yourself to a world that always tells you you're not enough. Billy credits her with telling him not to head down a bad road. He's made a U-turn and let go of the rage and anger. Sally asks if he's sure about that. Ian enters the motel room with a rose and hollers that he wants to kiss and make up. Michael emerges from the other room and says you shouldn't have. Ian asks what he's doing there. Michael guesses the rose was for Jordan, not him. He shouldn't have bought Els. Ian asks what do you mean by that. They spar with Bible verses until Ian says he's done with the veiled threats. Michael says his threat was intended to be crystal clear. He's there to advise Ian that Mr. Newman requires his immediate presence. Ian asks Michael to extend his regrets to his boss. He wants to wait for his late friend. Michael assumes he's referring to Jordan. Ian says that's none of his business. Michael informs him that Jordan took her own life that night. Ian claims he knows no one by that name. Michael knows he interacted with her when they were incarcerated. Ian will pray for her tortured soul. Ward opens the door to exit, but Victor's henchman Mortson is there and shows him the gun in his jacket. Michael tells Ian it's best if he comes with them at Sharon's place. She and Maria are joined by Nick, who asks if the redhead is sure Tessa and Ara are missing. Mariah can't find them anywhere, and Aria's favorite stuffy was left behind. Sharon worries that Jordan helped Ian take them. Nick says it wasn't her. They don't have to worry about her anymore. Jordan's dead. They have to focus on Ione, who is a threat to Maria and her entire family. Maria leaves yet another voicemail on Tessa's phone and grabs her coat. She can't sit around and do nothing. Nick questions her about her argument with her wife and Tessa's sympathy for Ione. Maria admits that hearing her defend that monster caused her to storm out. She came to check on Sharon, went home, and Tessa and Aria were gone. There were no signs of forced entry. Sharon and Nick think Tessa may have needed some space. Maura argues that she never would have taken Ara without telling her, especially after what they've been through with Sharon. Sharon says she's right. Nick says Victor knows that Maria's family needs more security. Jordan confirmed that Ian came back for her. Nick asked Maria about the last time she and Tessa saw Ian. Maria worries she provoked him into doing this. He'll never give up on getting her back into his life. He's already killed Heather, and now he's pulled Tessa and Ara into this. She thinks he wants her to suffer, not knowing if they're okay. Nick reminds her they don't even know he's the one who killed Heather. Jordan was cornered. Maria knows I am better than anyone in this world. He did this, Nick suspects. She's right, he fumes that they'll find that Synopfivit and bring Tessa and Aora home safe at the ranch. Victor's henchman sits Ion in a chair and stand over him. Victor walks in and muses, "I'll be Ion. Ward is gracing us with his presence." Ion asks if Nikki will be joining them. Victor warns him not to mention her name. Ion asks what he wants from him. Victor replies, "I would like to hear your last confession." Ion has nothing to confess. His conscience is clear. He offers to hear their confessions and offer absolution. Victor snarks, "How generous of you." They spar verbally, and Victor once again asks Ion to confess his sins. Ion chuckles. "What is it you want me to confess to?" Victor says they'll start with Heather Stevens. Ion knows that's the woman Sharon killed. He saw it online. Victor says you killed her along with Jordan, your cohort. Ion claims he knows no one by that name. Victor tells him to cut the crap. He either confesses or he'll share Jordan's fate and meet his maker at Billy's place. He tells Sally he won't give anyone the satisfaction of seeing him walk around town with a wounded look on his face. This is about his mom. Sally asks if he's spoken to her. He says there hasn't been a word since she sold Chancellor. "I really want to get this right." Sally asks if he really has no idea what he wants his company to be. He doesn't. Sally suggests they brainstorm. He teases that she said he'd be a great lion tamer and jokes he's run his fair share of clown shows. Sally urges him to use his heart. What experience in business made him happiest? He loved building Chance Common, the TV show he developed for Restless style, and his podcasts Sally uses, so maybe something in media. She not he been in direct competition with Newman Media. Billy has to admit the idea of sticking it to Victor and Adam sounds appealing. At Sharon's place, Nick and Maria discuss Ion taunting them since his return. Nick figures he'll lay low to regroup. His dad's security team will find him. Moria asks if they're supposed to just sit and wait. Nick says if Ion has them, he'll gain nothing by harming them. He's probably hoping to use them as leverage. Maria cries that Tessa and Aria will be terrified. She sobs in her mother's arms. Sharon tells her daughter she needs to get some rest, but Mariah couldn't close her eyes if she wanted to. Sharon and Nick convince her to go upstairs once alone. Nick tells Sharon he's calling Chance to update him. Sharon says none of them will sleep until this nightmare is finally over at the ranch. Ion warns Victor he's threatening him in front of witnesses. He's sure he's the one who took this Jordan person's life. Victor doesn't see any reason for him to live anymore. Michael newses that cult leaders have a thing for suicide pacts. He took the liberty of preparing a confession. All it needs is your signature. Victor's henchman steps closer and puts his hand on his gun. Ion reminds Victor and Michael that he left a letter with the police station. Michael says that's all gone away. Ion argues that if that were true, he'd be dead already. Victor repeats, now that Sharon is safely home, there's no reason for you to live. Nick walks in and says that's not exactly true. At Sharon's place, Maria looks out the window, sighs, and sits down. How could she sleep for even a second knowing he has Tessa and their precious Aria? When she closes her eyes, she sees him laughing and mocking her pain. She reflects on the times she had the opportunity to end his life, but didn't. If she ever gets the opportunity again, I'm not going to let it pass. Picking up her phone, she calls Tessa again and leaves a message saying she wanted to call and hear her voice. She hopes she's hearing her voice or will be listening to this soon. She hopes she's just mad at her and is punishing her because those can't be the last words that I say to that beautiful stupid face of yours. She pleads with her to call her back and yell at her, please call me back so that I can tell you how much I love you and how much I love our little girl and the life we've built together. She won't take another second for granted. Sharon listens as she chokes out, just call me back and let me know that you're oak at the ranch. Nick demands that Ion tell him the whereabouts of Tessa and Avery. Michael stands up and angrily asks, "What do you know about this?" Nick wants to beat the truth out of Ward, and Michael tells him to get in line. I am protests that he has no reason to hold Tessa or her child. Nick says everyone knows he wants to get back into Maria's life. Ian insists his sins are in the past. I have repented. Nick screams, I am sick of all these lies. You tell me right now, where do you have Tessa and ARA at Billy's place? Sally insists she has zero animosity toward her ex, but she's very supportive of her current guy. Billy teases her in French, and she asks if he's getting ready for their trip to Paris. They make out. Sally then tells him this new Billy Avad is incredibly sexy. They move toward the doorway and start making out again. Finally, she pulls him into a bedroom, where they start undressing and fall onto the bed to make passionate love. After sex, Billy leaves the bedroom to get more champagne. He picks up his phone and texts Jill, "We need to talk. There's a lot I have to say." Sally calls, "I'm thirsty." Billy says her French is on his way at Sharon's place. Maria knows Tessa